Hello, 11th grade AP English Language and Composition. This is Amber Maxis and also 11th grade. This is the rhetorical analysis video for a letter from Jefferson. Now, this letter from Jefferson was written to his daughter. Her name was Patsy. In 1784, Jefferson was sent to Paris to work out the treaty of ending the Revolutionary War. He stayed in France for about 5 years. While his daughter Patsy was in a Catholic convent school in Paris. That's when Jefferson wrote this letter, and he wrote this letter from the South, when he was in the south of France. The prompt question asks the students to be able to analyze how the rhetorical strategies that Jefferson uses reveals his own values. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about that. This letter was written March 28th, 1787. So you can already tell, and it already tells you in this letter the time frame. So you're aware that, the language might be a little bit more different, a little bit more complicated. You're going to have to just slowly read it step by step to just truly understand what he's trying to say here. And this is accent province. I was happy, my dear Patsy, to receive on the arrival here your letter informing me of your good health and occupations. So already right here, when he opened up and he said, I was happy, my dear Patsy, it can be inferred that, he has a personal close relationship to his daughter, just by how he's also just saying, I was happy, just already opening up with a tone of delight, writing this letter to his daughter. And my dear Patsy just shows more of an informal way of, writing this letter to her, which is to be expected because that is his daughter and he's her father. And also right here where it says good health and occupation, just right here where it's highlighted, good health and occupation. So you can also see that as her father, he values, her good health, her well-being, and her occupations, meaning her hobbies or anything that she, does on the usual, that's anything that's just really helping her to be successful, what she does. Moving forward, I have not written you sooner because I have been almost constantly on the road. My journey hitherto has been a very pleasing one. So you can already tell that, the author Jefferson was constantly on the road. He was busy, but, he still takes time out to write to his daughter. It was undertaken with the hope that the mineral waters of this place might restore strength to my wrists. Other considerations also concurred: instruction, amusement, abstraction from business of which I had too much at Paris. So right there's just like really some strong diction right here that the author is using just to add on to his description of, how his journey was. I am glad to learn that you are employed in new things and good in your music and drawing. So again, he's saying that he values and he expects her to, to still be, continuing to be employed, having employment, and he values, what she's good at, the things she's discovered, what she's still discovering, and what she's staying on track with, her current hobbies. And he's glad, he's happy, as a parent, to know that his child is doing what she needs to do to be successful and, have live a good life. What have been my fears some time past, that you do not employ yourself so closely that I could wish. So it's very important. Clearly, the author is emphasizing right here. He's mentioning employment a lot. He wants his daughter to consistently and always be employed. Don't just sit around and be lazy. Do something with your life. Stay active. You can't get anything done with just sitting around, and you can't expect things to be handed to you. So he values the fact that she's just really she's still employed, but he's saying that she knows better. Like, she knows that she needs to stay employed, and that's very important to her father. So that's another value of his. So closely as I could wish, you have promised me a more assiduous attention, and I have great confidence in what you promise. It is your future happiness which interests me. So here, right here, you see that is your future happiness, which interests me. So that's another one of his values that he's really emphasizing here: her happiness, her interest, what makes her, smile. And I mean, it's sweet as a parent to want that for your child, of course. And nothing can contribute more to it, more rectitude, always expected, than the contracting a habit of industry and activity. Of all the cankers of human happiness, of none corrodes with so silent yet so baneful a tooth as indolence. So right there, you can just see that, there's a lot of strong diction the author's using just to emphasize and extend and expand on what he's trying to say and describe, the human happiness. This is important, but however, let's not lose our focus here. It is while we are young that the habit of industry is formed. If not, then it is never afterwards. It is never afterwards. It never is afterwards, sorry. The fortune of our lives, therefore, depends on employing well the short period of youth. If at any moment, my dear, here's again, my dear, that we mentioned earlier, he's saying, my dear, again, again, emphasizing, the relationship he has with his daughter, just serving a certain importance in this letter to his child, Patsy. And it says, again, employing. So we know for sure that employment and staying employed is very important value to Jefferson. And also he mentioned that, while you're young, it's very important that you start early. You have your life already set on, your hobbies, your occupations, and what you want to do here. And it's important just to stay down that road. So that's some very strong parental advice he's trying to give Patsy here. Here we're talking about, you are not, however, to consider yourself as unemployed while taking exercise. So again, unemployed, being employed, it's a major value to Jefferson. You're not, however, to consider yourself as employed while taking exercise. That is necessary for your health, and health is the first of all objects. So your health here, Patsy's health is important to Jefferson. For this reason, if you leave your dancing master for the summer, you must increase your other exercise. So right here, he's using this metaphor. Just right here in this small portion right here, he's talking, his tone changed. From up here, he was being, it was loving, but still kind of stern. Here, he's being more strict, telling her this is what's expected, this is unacceptable if you are to do this, but still in a parental loving tone. This metaphor that he was using here, for this reason, if you leave your dancing master for the summer, you must increase your other exercise. Just because you stop doing one activity temporarily, you don't completely forever stop doing this one task or your occupation or your job or your employment. You have to, if you're not doing this opportunity right here, you have to go ahead and find another one. It's not okay just to sit around and, make nothing of yourself. That's unacceptable. So yeah, I mentioned fatherly advice right here. He was saying, I do not like your saying that you are unable to read. The ancient print of your Livy. So Livy, when I was beginning to read this, excuse me, this letter to his daughter, it's important that every time we are exposed to new different vocabulary terms, we are, especially for practice, we are able to just, if we are not sure of what it is, it's okay to go and look it up. That's just going to help expand our vocab. And, that's just extra preparation for the AP exam. So Livy here, if you didn't know, is a note right here down here that told you what Livy was, a Roman historian. So Livy can be referred to as a master, a teacher, whoever at that current time brings you guidance, wherever your source of information is coming from. The ancient prince of your Livy. But with the aid of your master, we are always equal to what we undertake with resolution. A little degree of this will enable you to decipher your Livy. If you always lean on your master, you will never be able to proceed without him. So basically right here, what he's saying is that It's okay sometimes to have to go and ask for help and need aid with something that you're doing, but what's not okay is to be so dependent on that person or your source of information, your source of guidance, to the point where without them you're clueless, you're lost, you don't know what to do with yourself. He wants his child Patsy to be able to do these things and do what she needs to get done on her own without constantly having to rely on somebody else. So that's basically what he's talking about here. He's talking about Livy, master, teacher. Moving forward, it is a part of the American character to consider nothing as desperate to surmount every difficulty by resolution and contrivance. In Europe, there are shops for every want. Its inhabitants therefore have no idea that their wants can be furnished otherwise. Remote from all other aid, we're obliged to invent and to execute, to find means within ourselves and not to lean on others. Consider, therefore, the conquering your Livy as an exercise in the habit of surmounting difficulties. So here he's also saying that another one of his values is for his daughter to be able to, be on her own and be independent and not constantly have to depend on other people for help and be able to do things for herself, what she needs to get done in her life. That's very important to him. And the author really, emphasizes and shines light onto that value that he expects from his daughter right here. A habit of which will be necessary to you in the country where you are to live, and without which you will be thought a very helpless animal unless esteemed. You ask me to write you long letters, I will do it, my dear. Again, my dear being mentioned. Again, unconditioned, you will read from time to time and practice what they will inculcate. So I also wanted to mention that I said before, of course, that my dear, it's used a lot, repetition, parallel structure, and also parallel structure and repetition that's used a lot during this Jefferson's letter to his daughter is talking about employment, employed, employing, unemployed, but he consistently keeps repeating my dear, my dear, my dear, my dear, because he's just emphasizing, just to make sure it can be considered as she's reading this, she's reading over and over again, my dear, just emphasizing that her daughter, emphasizing that he wants for his daughter to follow and listen to what he's saying, just to grab her attention every time. So at every time he says my dear, that's letting her know that this is important, this is what she needs to follow, this is what she needs to go by. He's not playing games. She needs to consistently and continuously do this. Unconditioned, you will read them from time to time and practice what they will be inculcate. Their precepts will be dictated by experience, by a perfect knowledge of the situation in which you will be placed, and by the fondest love for you. This is it, which makes me wish to see you more qualified than common. My expectations, see right here, high expectations. The author has high expectations for his daughter, and my expectations from you are high, yet not higher than you may attain. So he's really serious about what he expects from his daughter, and in this letter he's allowing her to know that industry and resolution are all that are wanting. Nobody in this world can make me so happy or so miserable as you. So right here, this is just unconditional love that he has for his daughter, and he just really shines a light and emphasizes that right here. Retirement from public life will ere long necessary for me. To your sister and yourself, I look to render the evening of my life serene and contented. Its morning has been clouded by loss after loss, till I have nothing left but you. I do not doubt either your affection or dispositions, but great exertions are necessary, and you have little time to make them. Be industrious then, my dear child. Again, think nothing unsurmountable by resolution and application, and will be all that I wish you to be. Continue to love me with all warmth with which you are beloved, my dear Patsy. So again, the author throughout this letter just continue to emphasize his values of, we covered his unconditional love for his daughter, unemployment, the expectations that he has for his daughter. And yeah, so this was it.